Hello, everyone. Welcome to TAN TV, the African American Network. We have a local feel with a global reach. Today, we're going to be today we are on Out of Bounds with T Rex, and I'm your host, T Rex. So, let me start bringing on the crew a little bit before we start going, but I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. First, we're bringing Jay Pay for the first time. Hey, Jay, where you at? Come on in here. How you doing, brother? Talk a little bit. Tell me something about
Good
yourself.
afternoon, evening. How's everyone doing?
Doing fine, man. Doing fine. Doing fine. Next, we're gonna bring in Miss Darla. Hey, you at Darla? I don't see you yet, girl. Hey,
Hey,
there you
I'm
are.
right
How you
here.
doing?
I'm doing so well. Coming to you from North Carolina this week on Baby Watch. Happy to be with the people.
That's amazing. That's
Waiting for
amazing.
my second grandchild.
Oh, you trying to catch up? I got 7. You want to borrow some? I'll let you borrow a
I'm,
few.
I'm good. The two. I'm good with the two. So just
All
waiting
right.
for healthy baby number 2.
Okay, here we go. Hey, Miss Dre, where you at? I don't see you on here. Come on in, girl.
Hey, hey, hey,
Hey,
Miss
how you
Treya
doing?
J. I'm doing well. Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday.
Hi,
Hey,
hi.
and last but not least, let's bring in the lady we've been waiting for from the Windy City. We'll give her a big because it's her first time on live. Come on in, Cheryl. How you doing?
Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday vibes and happy mental health.
Well, now
Great to be
the,
with
the posse
everybody.
is on board. Now the posse's on board. I guess we can get this thing rolling. First, let's talk about the funny man. And I call him funny man because he lies more than a rug. I'm talking about Herschel Walker, everybody. That's what I'm talking about. The Republican candidate for Senate in Georgia. So, without due delay, we start backwards. We'll ask Miss Cheryl, what do you think about Mr. Herschel Walker?
First of all, he's a buffoon. Second of all, if I speak from a clinical way, I'm an educator. As a
Mm-hmm.
school psychologist, I can't stand anybody who lies about their education. It's okay if you don't have a formal education, but it's not okay to lie about it and claim that you graduated even at the top 1% of your class when you did
That
not.
is so true.
For all of us who went through that process and did what we could do, yeah, I think it's uncouth and ridiculous that Herschel should feel like he had to lie about his educational background. I'm totally against that. He's ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. He's embarrassing.
Okay, well, thank you, Cheryl. Let's ask JP what he's about Mr. Herschel Walker.
So I totally agree with Cheryl on the on the buffoonery. But what I find pretty interesting is that a lot of us or everyone is seeing all this, yet he's been able to uh, raise over $8 million towards his campaign. So it's a little disappointing to see that uh, there's a lot of people out there that's encouraging his actions. That's what I really take out of it. It's like, man, this guy's a clown, but he has a lot of support. So um, very disappointing.
I agree with you 200%. 200%. All right, Andrea, what do you think about Mr. Herschel Walker?
I definitely think he is a very sad case. He's the individual who was representing Black people in Georgia. We came so far in the last 2 years with Warnock when he went up and he ran, Raphael Warnock in Georgia. So it's just really displeasing that we're seeing a buffoon, like Cheryl had mentioned, go up for a Congress seat when he doesn't represent anything good about his personal life. Everything that has come out about him has just been so negative and awful, and he tries to present it as if he's this great person who should be representing the state of Georgia. It's laughable. I don't know how long it has to take before we recognize that he is not the talent that we're looking for in that position, but he's just being propped up as a character, a part of the Trump the MAGA group. You know,
That is
it's very
so true.
unfortunate.
So true. Okay, Darla, spit your game. I know you got something long-winded to tell us about him.
Come on. You know, I will say he's giving me narcissist vibes. Just because you're a hometown hero from back in the day does not necessarily make you qualified to lead us, lead parts of our country or any part of our country. I am disappointed in this show of leadership for Black people in Herschel Walker.
Well, I think everybody hit Herschel Walker on the head, but I'm just going to hit on the military. You just don't say you served. And with Donald Trump saying everybody in the military at one time was losers if you got captured and stuff like that. So then he said he was in the military. I find that offensive, to all the service men and women all over the world, retired, active duty, just veterans, period. I find that very offensive. Myself personally, for someone like that to claim this and hasn't put the time in to understand it. I'm sure some of our law enforcement colleagues, I know, would say the same about him, talking about he's in the police department or honorary sheriff or all these things, and then to have the audacity to go out and get a fake badge, that is really just a little too much for me. So the message I got from Mr. Herschel Walker is, brother, be who you are. You're not the smartest. You can't say you graduated from Georgia, 1% of your class when you talk a little bit slow. That's all I can say. I'm not saying anything about your mental capacity. Stay on your meds, though, brother. I'm on mine. And we know you paid for those abortions. So just don't lie. If you want to win, let people tell you what to do and you'll win. So that is that. So our next topic today is the one we call the juicy part of the show. This is what we're going to talk about Miss Martinez. She's the former president of the LA County City Council. And let the crew tell you what she said, then I'll sum it up when we get done. Okay, let's start with backwards again. Let's go with Miss Darla. What you got on her, Darla?
I listened to the entire recording for the LA City Council, and I'm not a highly political person, but after having listened to the entire recording, it makes me want to become far, far more active and get involved in the area of politics. Genuinely, I was moved because of listening to those backroom conversations and how public leaders are getting things done, how selfish and how much racism was ingrained in that conversation. I was moved. I was moved to I moved to more action. So it's very disappointing to hear the lack of integrity that's ingrained in our publicly elected officials. That was a really, really important conversation for that everyone should listen to.
I think that she first, I agree with you on that. I think that she just thought that she wasn't on the books. She thought she was just talking off the record. And when you're serving the people, there's no such thing as off the record. Everybody's got a phone on or something. So with that being said, let's see. Let's talk to the Miss Psychic lady because we know she's politically not correct all the time. Go ahead, show them what you got, girl.
Terry's right. Okay. There's a lot of things I could say about this. What pains me the most, and I agree with everything that Darla said, is so disheartening. What I really don't like is the divisiveness. Is why is it always the brown people against each other? I don't understand why those 4 council members couldn't join forces with the other 3 African American members and really do something amazing for the LA community. And that just
True.
hurts me the most. And the second thing that hurt me was that they talked about someone's child. The child should be off limits. I
Yeah,
work
it's
with
true.
kids. You should not be talking about children in that manner and calling them names, you know. And I
That's
do
just
believe
uncalled
he
for.
called him little monkey or something like that in Spanish. I don't care if it's Spanish, English, French, Portuguese. I don't care what the language is. You should not be talking about some man's child. That is not your
I,
place. So those 2 things really, really, really hurt me. And lastly, um, we're adults, but other younger people, they may look up to people like council members and people in the news and people that they may interact with. What kind of modeling are we doing for our children and for our community? So it was just a terrible day for us here in Southern
yeah, it was a
California.
terrible day. I agree with you. Terrible day for California, especially for LA City Council. I think that you hit it on the head. You don't talk about people's children, and I still don't understand why Brown got to talk about any other minority. That's just not right. All right, there, Miss Andreas, speak to us, please. There.
Well, I definitely did watch or listen to the whole commentary that was taking place, and it was very sad to see that type of language coming from our elected officials. When, just like you said, Terry, there's no conversation that you shouldn't expect that is not recorded, right? When you're in
That is
public
true.
office. But to
That's
also
for
add
sure.
context to that, with the conversation that we heard, imagine that there's 10 other conversations like that 10 other city council members or mayors or other government officials are having. So we really shouldn't be shocked that this is the one that came out, right? This is the one that we found out about. But there's plenty
Oh,
other circumstances where black and brown people are getting called derogatory names. And it's,
mhm.
yeah, she stepped down, but what good is that going to do if there's no other change that's going to happen within the city council organization as a whole? Because we saw that there's one member, they're like, nah, I'm good, I'm not stepping down. So what change is going to come from that? We had one person leave, but still the bad apples are still in place. So I'm
That is
glad she
so
stepped
true.
down, but there's definitely more work that needs to be done, and we definitely need to hold our elected officials to a higher standard.
I agree with you again. Before I get with you, JP, we want to make a station break. Hey, everybody! Thanks for tuning in to TAN TV, the African American Network. We have a local feel with a global reach, and you're watching Out of Bounds with me, T Rex. All right, there, JP. Spit your game on us about this young lady or grown woman, whatever she is in LA.
Okay, so I didn't listen to the entire conversation, but I heard enough. So definitely agree with all the points brought forward so far. Um, just to hear again, kind of like that back of house banter that went on, and come to find out this conversation was actually like over a year old, and it was there's so many other angles to go at it. We understand the conversation was bad, but it was, strategically placed at a time where, it came out to us over a year later. So
Right.
there's a lot of shadiness and things that are going on in the political environment. I'm glad that, yeah, right before an election, I'm glad that dogs inspired, it sent me in the other direction. I was like, I don't want any parts of this mess. If this is what it's like, I don't want anything part of it. But yeah, again, I definitely agree with all the points so far, especially being in a political public environment, especially in this day and age. There really isn't any privacy, especially when you're in conversation with others that are your counterparts. So, yeah, I mean, again, one person down and a couple of others that were considering stepping down is good, but it's a long way to go.
Well, I agree with you, man. I think the most important thing is that people need to slow down and understand that they're hurting people. But you know what the twist is? She just didn't speak about, minorities. She spoke about the LA district attorney. And I quote from an article, she said, F that guy. He's for black people. Now, I thought we was all one people.
Right.
We just come in different shades, but I thought LA County was one people. So can somebody tell me why we're not one people? I'm listening. Whoever
I
want to
mean,
say it, speak up.
even though it's 2022, people still don't want to be down with black folks, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to be black until it's time to be black. So, so what do you mean? He gets down with the blacks. I like getting down with the blacks. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't come off as something super
Yeah.
negative to have the back of people who've been oppressed. When you look at LA as a whole, LA is so diverse. There are so many neighborhoods
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
LA, Koreatown, you know what I mean? Areas that are heavily populated by blacks, by Mexicans. It doesn't matter. We should have council members and elected officials who represent all people.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with you.
she
Anyone
mentioned
else?
that about Koreatown. She mentioned that they say it's Koreatown, but it's really heavily populated by Mexicans. And my issue with this though was that they're not really down for any people. If you really are listening to the conversation, they were just having conversations about how they were going to propel themselves individually, and it takes me
No.
right back to Herschel Walker. And I was thinking about, these are the same kind of backdoor conversations that he's probably having, that makes him feel comfortable to lie and do all the things that he needs to do or wants to do so that he can get elected. I don't know that they're down
Well,
for any people.
I agree with both of y'all, but I think the biggest problem is that orange guy we had in office not too long brought all that kind of stuff to the forefront, and now people running with it on a political standpoint. So that's how I see it. JP, you got anything you like to add on? We got time. Holler at us. Let me know what you're thinking.
So to digress a little bit, I heard a little bit of that, that conversation that went on, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, she was talking about a child, which
Yes.
was definitely off limits. Um, the the conversation, uh, I was trying to picture, the the uh, the environment or how that situation occurred, and it just put me in a place of thinking of dealing with an unruly child that you have no we've had conversations of a child that's basically running around and doing what they want to do and sitting there like what can I do. I heard that in her conversation. Unfortunately, it's how she expressed it, and then you saw the true colors actually come out after it
Yeah.
that turned the whole conversation negative for me. But at first, when she started out, I just heard it, and I was just like, yeah, it sounded like this kid needed a whooping, but that's what it sounded like, basically when she was describing it. But then
I
after, hearing, more and more in depth, and that she just kept going and making, the monkey reference and everything, then I was like, okay, you've now
yeah,
you've now
crossed that
made me
line.
an enemy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
When they cross that line and they're having that conversation, it gets. I mean, especially about children. Everybody loves their child, and you should be kind to other children, no matter if they have special needs or not. You still should be kind to children because that's our future, and you got to teach them the right way. But Cheryl, tell me what you got to say extra about that lady. I know you got something in there.
Well, it's really about the Latino Hispanic culture. The
Mm-hmm.
history of this in our country is race is a made up construct. I hope we all know that and agree on that. That is documented. Hispanic was not even a category, I don't think, till 1970 on the census.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I don't know what they was calling them. Maybe they were calling them Black people. I don't know. But before that, they were not even a category. That's why it pains me so much that we cannot come together when they really are like our cousins. We are really all the same people. As a practice, I've started not saying the word race quotes anymore.
Mhm.
There's only one race, and I think Terry has said it. We are the human race.
Human race.
I'm a different ethnicity from these council members, but I am
Right.
not a different race than these
That's
council
true.
members. And it just pains me that this conversation, it is circular, it is racist, it is sad, and it is disgusting. And I'm just tired of it. It's just another way to keep us divided. And this I just want stuff for myself. Where is all this coming from? It just is disheartening, like all my other people here with us today has said. Why is it about yourself? It's so narcissistic, to quote Darla.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. That is the truth. All right, Andrea, I see you back there. Your lips is turning. What you got, girl?
No, I completely agree with Cheryl as far as it comes to the human race. But when you look at politics, it's a dog eat world, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's trying to get to that next level politically. A city council member, then the next step might be mayor. After mayor, the state of California, whatever other elected positions until you get to Washington, D.C. So everybody is, greasing each other's palms so they can get that next step ahead. It stops being about the community and the people the minute you say your oath, because there's always some backdoor deal that's trying to happen where you're trying to influence this district or you're trying to get money to this place. It's always something when you move into politics. So you definitely got to have tough skin, because people are going to come at you left and right for something. And like I said before, unfortunately, when you're in the game of politics, people are going to be recording conversations so that as it gets closer to that first Tuesday in November,
it's
you
gonna
can
come
get
out.
caught up and people won't vote for
Mhm.
you. It's a big game. You got to read the rules.
Yeah, you got to play the game within the rules. That's the problem. They trying to cut the rules. What you got, Miss Darla? Talk to me. I know you got something. I can see my eyebrows going up and down.
Heavy on my heart is I have a question, so it's kind of random,
Okay.
but I feel like back to what you were asking earlier, Terry, is there is this trend among Black people where we are more open and welcoming to people of other races when it comes to everything. We marry
Right.
other people, we let them into our households. We keep saying they can't come to the barbecue, but we be inviting them to the barbecue. We're more welcoming. And I was wondering, when you asked that question, is it because we lack a sense of culture? Is there what is it that causes us to be more welcoming, um and then other people? Because I think on the recording, I believe she was referring to us when she talked about, it's like the Wizard of Oz. They sound like they're a whole people, but when you really pull back the curtain, it's just really,
Yeah.
somebody on a microphone with a loud voice. There's not really a lot of them. They're not really united. They don't really have the numbers. So I just wonder about that.
I think it's, well, if I can put my Star Trek background into it, I think what happens to most people, and I'm not just talking about her particular, but most people that get into the political or any type of arena where there's jockeying for position to move up, they get assimilated into the power race. I mean, last week we talked about Kanye West and all that, but everybody that makes a decent amount of money above, I should say maybe above 250, they get assimilated into that society that they work within, because that's their money program. And I think people should never forget where they came from. That's just my true opinion. You're there to help the people. I mean, I think about all the people who steal money from the government, and that money goes to poor people. And then we sit back and we fuss about sending money over to countries in need or to help someone in a war situation. We always say, well, we need that money here, but it's so much robbery going on right here in our own judicial system and within the political realm that we just don't say anything about. We just let it go. We all talked about the guy down there in Mississippi that played quarterback for Green Bay, how he steal from welfare people. So the whole thing I got to say on this whole thing about uh, moving up in your job force, respect the people that you have under you, because it's an old saying: the same people you meet on the way up, you're gonna meet on the way down. And she found that out the hard way when they was all out there protesting, telling her, "Hey, we don't want you no more." First time she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a leave." After second time, she just stepped down. Before I go any farther, JP, love your glasses, dog. I was peeping at them. I was just peeping at the glasses, man. They look familiar.
Look red.
All right. So before we go, is there anything anybody would like to put a shout out to and let everybody know what's going on in the Inland Empire and in the nation? Other than we're gonna have another grandbaby here in a couple of 2 weeks. But go ahead.
Well, I would like to share. I am a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Mhm.
Next month, on November 12th, we will be celebrating our 100th anniversary. So if you're in Indianapolis, Indiana on November 12th, please look out for the Royal Blue and Gold.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Indianapolis. Been there before. Know how that is. Anybody else? Oh, y'all getting quiet now. You know I can run my mouth now. I can run my mouth. Well, I think that we hit the head on the Q's formal coming up, and my fraternity is having a party that day. I think we can do both. I'm going to try to come out after my knee surgery and come out and hang out with you guys. Probably have me a little one of them old men walker or something like that. But I'll be doing all right. But I just want everybody to know that we, as the people, are the ones who's running this country, not our elected officials. And until we take our power back from them, then we're not going to be doing anything positive. It's always going to be about them, instead of about the masses. Uh, uh, Star Trek Spock again said, "The needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few," and we are the many; they are the few.
Yes.
We need to people need to take care of the people. That's why we pay taxes. I don't care if you're here legally, illegally. I don't care. You pay taxes. If you buy something, you pay taxes. So that's the most important thing is we need to start treating people as Americans and not as just uh, ethnic activity, race, or anything. Because I've been saying this for years. I don't understand why if there's Latino Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans, why don't we have some German Americans, some English Americans, some the European continent people, Polish and stuff of that nature? Because the only true Americans, as we said before, this indigenous people, how they keep changing their names, they're just Natives Americans. They are the real Americans. They're just Americans. Everybody else should have a surname but them. And we all see the ads about our politicians here with the betting on football and all the sports now. They try and take money away from the American people, which are the for lack of a better word, Native Americans, indigenous people. We need to make sure that we figure that out for them. I mean, this is their land. We're all visitors. And I hate to tell people, but if you're born here or you have legal citizenship here, you are an American. So, with anything else we got there, would y'all like to put out there?
We just need to be better to each other.
Right.
Have more
Right.
integrity as individuals and be better to each other. That might be my new phrase. Be better to each
Be
other,
better to each.
please.
Well, we all need that. We all need to have something because if we don't have something, we don't have anything. We just don't have anything. And I want people to understand that one of you guys mentioned earlier, I forgot who, about the census. And I think the census is really a biased situation here. The census is supposed to be used for money, but what it's really used for is for telling you where you cannot go. So, and if you own a home 2 doors down from somebody in the same zip code, if their borderline is in that census as a white neighborhood and you're in a different neighborhood, your house is less than theirs, and it's the same neighborhood. I mean, it's within inches of feet or something from each other. So, America, we got a lot of work on. And don't think we ain't gonna be here to remind you, America, because outside we all looking in at you because out of bounds. We're here to tell you what's going on when you're wrong. We're gonna catch you. When you step out of bounds, we're gonna catch you. With that saying, Everybody, anybody got anything more for closing so we can close this out here before?
I wish everyone good mental health until we see you again. And for everyone who tuned in, we appreciate it. And I just wanted to say how much I love all my co-workers here.
Okay. Anyone else? Ooh, everybody throwing up the sign. I'm not going to do that. It's too much work. But anyway, thank you, everybody. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in to TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. I'm T-Rex, and we're signing out for Out of Bounds with me. Tune in next week. I'm sure the crew is going to have something serious to talk about. And we're also trying to find some more funny things. I think we're going to go into a little relationship talk. But until then, be safe, vote, keep yourself safe. Remember, COVID's still out there. And be kind to everyone. Everybody else, peace.